Well everyone, the M5 chip wave is coming, and it's coming much sooner than we originally anticipated, with the M5 debuting more than likely this week. But what I want to ask everybody is, should we even care about the M5 chip? Because the M series chips have been so good that is it really worth thinking about going from the M4 to the M5? Let's talk about that in this video, and also talk about the different products Apple's going to debut with that M5 chip, because one of them is actually a big surprise. Let's get into it. So we reported last week that Mark Gurman did talk about 3 different products that Apple will be announcing this week with that M5 chip. The first one being my beloved iPad Pro. It should be receiving the M5 chip. Then secondly, the M5 MacBook Pro should be releasing. It's going to be in its own standalone product, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then lastly, Apple will be unveiling their 2nd generation Vision Pro with that M5 chip as well. So let's break down each of these products and what gains we're going to see from generation to generation, and see if the M5 chip is worth holding out for and worth the wait. So the one that I'm personally most excited about is going to be the M5 iPad Pro. And again, I'm a little bit biased just because I am an iPad Pro only user. I use it as my main device. I use it as my main computer. And yes, I have the M4 iPad Pro, and Apple did revamp it recently in terms of the design language, the thinness, the tandem OLED, and all that will remain the same, but we will be getting some great performance enhancements internally, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So the M5 iPad Pro will still come in that 11-inch and 13-inch variant, and it will be getting that M5 chip. Now, the M5 chip year over year, normally I would say isn't a great and drastic update, but if it's anything like the iPhone update this year, where we went from the A18 Pro to the A19 Pro and saw substantial year over year upgrades, this could also bring those same type of upgrades going from M4 to M5. So we should be seeing about 10% faster CPU single core scores, about a 20% faster multi-core score, but most importantly, a 40% increase in GPU power for the M5 iPad Pro, which should help out with those more task-intensive tasks and applications that you'll be using on a day-to-day basis that should be being used on the iPad Pro primarily. Again, in recent years, the iPad has usually been the first computer to get the latest M series chip, and this year is no different with the iPad Pro getting the M5 chip. But the biggest change here is what the M5 is going to enable, which is going to be a 50% boost in base RAM, which means we're going to get 12 gigs of RAM on those entry-level models of the iPad Pro, and we'll still have the 16 gigs of RAM on those higher end ones, which is going to be the 1 terabyte and the 2 terabyte. And I think Apple's doing this because iPadOS 26 is a little bit more task intensive. There's a lot more going on, the multitasking, the file management, the windowing modes, a bunch of other applications coming in, it becoming more of a desktop-like interface. So getting more RAM onto the base levels of these iPad Pros is something that they absolutely needed, although it still runs perfectly well on some of those cheaper and older iPads. But outside of that, everything should remain the same. All the optionality should remain the same. The pricing's gonna remain the same. You can go up to 2 terabytes. You'll still have the nano texture display option, the same size options, the same thinness, the same 11-inch and 13-inch one. And it will more than likely be released via a press release this week, so definitely stay tuned and we'll cover that the moment it comes out. Now next up, let's talk about the MacBook Pro. Apple will be putting the new M5 chip in the MacBook Pro, the 14-inch variant, but that will be the only MacBook Pro to get the M5 chip. We're not going to be getting any M5 Pro or M5 Max, at least not as of now, and that's probably going to be reserved for next year to be put into the 16-inch as well as also the 14-inch one. But this is going to be kind of that base level, the entry level. It will start, I believe, at $15.99 retail. There's probably going to be some great deals on Amazon eventually, so if you do want to hold out, definitely do that. But essentially, you're getting a faster CPU, a faster GPU, a better multi-core score. But this is one of those things that maybe I would hold off on if you do have an M4 14-inch MacBook Pro already, because you're not going to see substantial upgrades overall. I think you might be able to push it a little bit further, kind of on that upper echelon, if you're running a lot of pro-level applications, or you're doing a lot of AI modeling with Apple Intelligence, or things of that nature. But overall, the M5 upgrade will be nice for those people that are maybe coming from the M1, maybe from an Intel-based one, or maybe from an M2 MacBook Pro, and they do just want to get that upgrade and get all the nice hardware perks that you get with the M5 MacBook Pro as well. There is a rumor that Apple might actually get rid of the notch. There were some leaks in an Apple video of a notchless MacBook Pro, but that remains yet to be seen. There weren't any corroborated or confirmed reports. It's just something that I personally noticed, and something that I would actually welcome as a notchless MacBook Pro, because I think they could fit that selfie camera on the top of that little lip where the screen is. And now the one that most people are curious about, I don't know if a lot of people will be purchasing this, but there's a lot of curiosity around the Vision Pro and what the next step is for it, because Apple released it back in January of 2024. And while yes, it was an amazing device, and the compute on your face and the way that it worked and how it used your hand gestures and how it used your eye movements to be able to track, and it was just something mind-blowing, and it still is to this day almost 2 years later. But now there seems to be a little bit more of an emphasis or a spotlight on what Apple's doing from this augmented reality or mixed reality headset kind of category of product, because Meta is doing a bunch of stuff on their end, there's other companies doing kind of little displays on regular size glasses, and Apple's still working on the headset right now, but we don't really know what Apple's going to be doing moving forward. When it comes to the Vision Pro itself, I do believe it's going to remain in its own category in terms of it's going to be a mixed reality headset. This is not going to be a type of Meta Ray-Ban competitor that you put on your face like regular glasses. Apple will enter that product category probably underneath the Vision Pro product category and call it maybe the Vision Pro Air or the Vision Pro Lite to then give you that form factor, but as of right now, this Vision Pro 2 is going to remain relatively identical. The Vision Pro will be receiving the new M5 series chip, which is going to be 3-generation leap to what it has currently. Currently, it only has the M2 series chip, which is kind of interesting when they did release it back in February of 2024, but we will get a nice substantial upgrade in terms of compute and neural engines especially to be able to do much more on the computer that's sitting on your face. Apple will be releasing a brand new and more comfortable and redesigned head strap because a lot of people complained about neck strain, eye strain, the weight of the device itself, and how, because again, it's made out of pretty premium materials, and premium usually means a little bit heavier, so people did complain about the actual weight for long periods of time. Apple has redesigned the new strap that's going to be coming with the Vision Pro 2. And then it has been reported that Apple will be doubling the neural engine cores that are inside the actual Vision Pro itself to be able to do much more from an AI perspective. If you guys remember, Google kind of came out with that teaser headset, or I believe it was Samsung, and they used Gemini and everything kind of built into that. So being able to have Apple Intelligence built in to the Vision Pro and use it as a way of communication and as a real way of input is going to be a drastic change to the Vision Pro and how you interact with it. So if you were expecting a big kind of glorious change of the Vision Pro for the Vision Pro 2, you will be a little bit disappointed because it's going to be an internal spec bump with some kind of small changes from a design standpoint, maybe a bigger battery or better battery life, but overall you won't be able to really tell the difference unless you look at the head strap from the Vision Pro 1 to the Vision Pro 2, and that is a little bit of a shame, but Apple is reportedly working on a Vision Pro Lite or something in a different category or form factor that should be coming in early 2027. Of course, we'll be reporting on that as it comes along, but all these products that I mentioned should be released this week and should be released via press release starting more than likely on Tuesday, then Wednesday, and then finally on Thursday with the Vision Pro release. So to answer that final question is, should you care about the M5 chip? Depends on who you are and where you're coming from, but I really only care about it from the iPad Pro standpoint, at least at this point. And even then, I'm kind of reaching and stretching a little bit because I do have the M4 iPad Pro, and in any other world where I'm not kind of reviewing these products, I would not be going from the M4 to the M5. If I had the M1, maybe even the M2, but if I had maybe an A12X or an A12Z iPad Pro, I would definitely go to the M5 iPad Pro because that would be a nice and substantial upgrade. But overall, these are just incremental internal hardware spec bumps that are just going to make the quality of life of these devices that much better. And if you are somebody that's in the market for a new device, these are going to be the ones that will be at the Apple stores moving forward. But that'll do it for this video, everybody. Definitely get subscribed to the channel because we have way more content like this coming out over the next coming days. And I also have the iPhone 17 Pro review. I switched over to the small one that I do want to kind of talk about in a later video and give you guys my month-long review on the 17 Pro because it's been honestly a magnificent device for lack of a better term. But that'll do it, everybody. If you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin. I'm back. So expect some regularly scheduled videos moving forward. If you want to watch more videos like this, check out one of these videos right here and leave a comment down below of what you picked up during Prime Day. Always curious. Peace, everyone.